I always start off with first is my eyebrows. It allows me to know sometimes they're a little too dark, they might be a little thick. It allows me to clean them up and see where to go with a makeup look. So the products I use for my brow, I use 2 different products. They're both e.l.f. I love e.l.f. It's great cheap drugstore makeup. But I use a pencil as well as brow gel. And first and foremost, you will always brush out your brows first. Gotta make them look human again. Going to brush up and then lay them down. It just helps shape them a little bit. What I do with the pencil is I just outline my natural brow. Both of mine are pretty even. The remnants of microblading, man, didn't last long, but it left a good outline for me to follow. But yeah, with the pencil, outline. Okay, so I went ahead and just outlined the other brow. Figured you kind of get it. I just don't outline the very front part where the little hairs are at. You'll see why in a second. But after both of them have their outlines, I go back through, and you're going to want to brush, especially while your face is still pretty moisturized. It's going to drag that brow pencil color straight into your natural hair. Now we're going to go in with our handy dandy brow gel, which is just like a mascara applicator. And literally brushing up yet again. We're going to do the same exact motion that we did when brushing them out without any product on them. And what this does is it allows you to help fill in any of the gaps that you have while maintaining natural-ish looking brows. Today I'm going to use my rainbow palette. So to help it pop, even though I will say Beauty Glaze does a pretty good job with the rainbow, I am going to pop on a little bit of concealer just on the lids. That's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to rub this on this other eyelid. Again, I use my finger for this part. And I'm going to let it dry. If you don't let it dry, then your shit's going to be all blotchy. So the palette that I'm going to use today is Beauty Glaze Color Fusion. And this is what it looks like. I'm unsure what happened here. It kind of came like that anyways. But I will say, if you like color, this is your fucking palette, man. To just forewarn you and apologize, I have been lazy and not cleaned my makeup brushes in a very long time, but I used Anju. They definitely are not bad. They do a really good job. These are all of my brushes. We start with the darkest color you plan on using on the outside of your corner. It helps your eyes make your eyes look bigger. I'm gonna go in with this color. This palette, you do need to make sure that your whole brush is covered. Always make sure to tap. This is where it's gonna get stupid in the video because I'm not really good at explaining. I have hooded eyes, so I always start right above my crease. And as you can see, here we got our fucking good little drag going on. So drag it over a little bit more. And now we go to our next color using the same brush because I'm a fucking savage. Next, I'm gonna go in with the pink. Yes, I could have chosen a lighter pink, but it wasn't bold enough for me. Again, make sure it's nice and covered. Go up and tap. See all that excess that would have fallen everywhere? That's why you do the tap. And then what you do is you start at the very beginning or the end of where the purple is. And just tap. Tap. Okay, and this is going to help with that blending in between colors. I think I'm going to do orange and then green in the corner because it doesn't matter when you're doing makeup. You can do whatever the fuck you want. It don't motherfucking matter. Again, just covering the brush. Tap, tap. And again, start like where you're barely overlapping the color you just put on. And then drag it out. And then blend. Tiny, 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 tiny little circles. Perfect. And I can already tell you right now, I'm wiping off the orange. I'm going to go back in with the pink because I feel like it needs to be a little bit more packed on there. And literally to pack on color, you just have to lightly touch. Like, but seriously, do you see, like, you don't have to fucking stab your eye. You don't need to swipe back and forth. I covered my brush, I tapped it off, and then I just went like that. And look at that pink, it looks so much better. We're gonna do the same thing with the purple. And then this is where you can start to create the eye shape you want. I don't go too much farther past my eyebrow. I've tried doing other eye shapes and I just kind of like to go with my natural one. The most exciting thing I do is I will bring it out and drag it out to a point, kind of, but very minimal. Now, this is where a lot of people mess up, is that they either will continue to blend all the way up with the same colors they started, and then they never also bring a color to the very, very front of their brow. This is where I switch brushes. It's a bigger blending brush. That I do know is true. And I'm going to take, I have the light pink that I showed you. That one right there. Cover it. Boop, boop. And then what I'm going to do is you just tap it by the front of your eyebrow. And then I tap and drag. Tapped and dragged. And now tiny, tiny, tiny little circles all the way across. And it just helps buff it out right there. I guess I had been doing a cut crease this whole time without realizing I was doing a cut crease. So let me show you that shit. Again, we're going to take concealer. And what you want to do is, I'm trying to make it to where you can see there's the top. I dig it in there, and now I'm wiping off as much excess as I can. A lot of people like to use a lot. I do not, just a little bit. But I start at the bottom of my lash. Oh, now this is a lip brush, P.S. I use it for when I'm trying to pack on glitters, as well as when I'm trying to do the cut crease. But I start at the bottom and I work my way up. If you start at the top, you're more apt to not get a clean line. Okay, so as you can see, I did it. Now I'm just waiting for it to dry. The only other thing I did off camera was I took my angled brush and I dipped it in all three of the colors after I had the concealer on. And obviously I did one color at a time, and I'll show you what I did. Is now you just tap it, and this is in your actual crease part. Okay, just tap and drag a little bit. I know it seems redundant, but that's what's going to help you get the crisper lines between your lid and your upper lid eyebrow area, whatever. That's going to be the lid color, and then we'll pop the green in the inner corner. Now that you're at the lid part, I'm not going to do any blending up into the upper crease or anything. I'm literally just going to pop it on the lid and drag it out. Okay, so I popped the blue on both of the lids. I'm going to go in and I'm going to take this beautiful little blue right there. What I'm going to do, I'll show you. I'm going to tap, 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 tap on the outer corner. This is where, and the only blending part that you want done with the upper crease is at the very outer corner. Like I said, we're going to tap like we did. And I still have enough that we're going to tap on this side. But yeah, as you can see, I just tapped it on there. And again, gonna go in with tiny, tiny little circles. Hold your brush up. There you go. And that's, you just want it a little bit blended with the purple. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just a little bit so it's kind of cohesive. Okay, so as you can see, I barely put that dark blue into my actual lid. Just mainly on the outer corner, like I said. So we're gonna take that lime green that I had shown you. I am going to use another little brush, only because it's got a finer tip at the end, easier to pack into the inner corner. And this you don't really need to blend or anything. Like, I'm just tapping it on there, doing a little bit of dragging, but not to blend. Mainly just to get it in its spot. Literally now, last but not least, for eyeshadow. I am going to do the dark purple on the outside again, just to stick with the theme of darker in the outer edges. And now we're going to do that lower lash line, and we're gonna drag. I don't know why I have to keep my mouth open to do this, but we're gonna drag it all the way across. Do the same on the other eye. I'm also going to take the orange that I used, and I'm going to pop it over some of the purple, and then I'm going to stop about halfway. Instead of putting foundation on right away, best hack I've ever learned is to do a very, 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 very light coat of setting powder. I just use Airspun. It's just translucent powder. I don't even think it's actual fucking setting powder, but it works like a motherfucking charm. I use a rounded brush, some moisturizer, no setting powder, and this is just gonna be a light coat all over my face. Next step is setting spray. I know, I fucking know. Way backwards. Don't worry, we're still going to use more setting powder and more setting spray later, because that's how makeup works. I use Iconic London. It's a good little shimmery spray as well. Shake it up and hold it away from your face. I like how I move my phone away from my face too. And wait for it to dry. You want to make sure it is dry, people. If you do not, then what happens when you go to put the primer on is the translucent powder will start to clump up and you just look like you have dry skin everywhere. I use Master Prime, and again, I still use my finger for primer. The rest will be done with the sponge, but just gonna tap it on all the areas, rub it in, we'll be back. Allowed the primer to set. Just like most products, you gotta allow your primer to set. It'll help with the playing of the foundation. I use Milani. Well, right now I do, because I ran out of my other shit. It is a thick layer. I'm going to put foundation all over my entire face, and we'll be back. After foundation is concealer. Underneath the eyes, all the way up. And then down. Gotta get more. Concealer fixes fucking everything, guys. Just a heads up. Fill it in. Perfect. Put it on your chin. I don't know if there's like a proper way to actually apply concealer, but this is how I do it. Then we're gonna get the nose. Nice little line all the way down, all the way up, and then fan it out on your forehead. So again, I use e.l.f. concealer. It blends really fucking well, but it doesn't have the thickest coverage for concealer. You want concealer to be thicker than your foundation and have a heftier. And you also want to make sure it is lighter than your foundation, which obviously mine is. But a trick to make sure it is more full coverage when you are buying cheap, decent concealer is you're gonna love it, let it set a little bit. You're gonna wait a couple minutes, let it dry out, and then you're gonna blend like there's no tomorrow. Okay, so it's been a few minutes. I blend out my chin, my forehead, and my nose first, and then I hit my eyes last. And the reason why I do is because directly after I'm done blending out one eye, I'm going to hit it with some setting powder. And the reason why I hit it so quickly with the setting powder and I make sure it's all ready and good to go is because if I do not start baking right away, I will have a crap load of creases because I'm old and getting wrinkly underneath my eyes. And if you don't set it, all you're going to do is you're going to build the product that you just spent all this time layering on, and it's going to get into the crevices and look gunky and weird. All right, so I have one eye blended, one eye not, and going in with the setting powder. This time I don't take any product off because you want a thick part on there and you want it gone all the way up. Hit the corner of your eyes. There you go. Okay, perfect. Now we're gonna let it sit for a second before we get rid of the excess. Okay, so now both eyes are baking, and this is when we are going to go in with the rest of our setting powder. We're gonna knock off a crap load of product and do an even thinner layer than we did at the beginning. This is just to help take away some of the shine and get the areas where you're not going to contour. There we go. Perfect. And now we're going to take away the excess from both eyes. I want you to know in between most of these videos, I've had to wait for a concealer to thicken up. It takes about 3 minutes. Primer to dry properly, let it set for about 2 minutes, and then yeah, pretty much anytime you're letting one of your products set and dry out, it's anywhere from 2 to 4 minutes. Same with baking. I'm going to start in with contouring, but this is Park Avenue Princess Tarte. All of them smell like chocolate, which is funny to me. What I do is I am going to take this rounded brush, which has seen better days, and I go into that color on one side, and then I'm gonna go into another color. I find my own base. What I do is I'm going to start at the ear, make my fishy face, and I'm going to drag down and then drag back up. Okay, you don't want a line that goes all the way down your face. You want it about halfway, and you want it to stop right about there. Okay, so we're not done yet because we have to obviously blend it. We're not going to go out like that, but before I blend all at once. I'm now going to go back in with the lighter of the two colors that I took, and again on the edge of the brush. And now we're going to pop it on our forehead right next to your hairline. Now here's the thing, is that we are going to drag it down, and don't worry, that will eventually be blended out with it. So now we have our forehead and our cheeks, and now we're going to blend. Most important thing about blending your contour is to take the full side of your brush and you blend up. But I'm not joking you, you'll look a little bit more snatched with your cheeks if you blend up. And it also allows you to control of exactly how far down your contour goes. Because obviously if you're blending down, you're going to get some more loose, and then you're going to try to blend it all the way out to your lips, and you don't want that. Okay? I blend into my ear, trust me. When you go to take your makeup off, you will have to wash your ears. And then we're just gonna blend. Forehead, you really just want a very thin line. Again, with my nose, I take the lighter contour powder that I put on my forehead because we're not trying to look weird. I also do tap off the excess, and I use an angled flat blending brush. What you do is, I'm trying to give you a good angle. I start where my outer color of my eyeshadow starts. Drag down. Okay. Honestly, that's a little dark, so we're going to be spending quite a long time blending that. But do the same on the other side. There we go. And then the last place you get with your contour is just with the same exact brush that we used for our nose. We are going to take now the darkest colors of the contour powder. Don't tap off any excess. You're going to go from behind your ear and follow your natural jawline. You're going to go to right on the outside of your chin. Okay, so now that we've got our jawline, I'm taking the same big brush. And this is where you are going to blend down towards your neck, okay? For behind your ear, obviously, like, I blend up towards my hairline. That way it just kind of looks a little bit more natural. You now got your contour on. Cool. Now on to the next step because there's so many steps. Okay, now we put on a little bit of blush. Again, I use Milani. I already have red cheeks that I spent all this time trying to fucking cover up, so I'm not trying to get that red again. Again, apple of your cheek. I tap at the top because I don't really get rid of a lot of the excess product. And I'll do the same on the other side. And then blend out and up, blend out and it. Perfect. Last little place that I touch, and I know it's kind of weird, but you'd be surprised, as I'm going to go in towards my nose, and we're going to get the bridge part, just a smidge, not a whole lot, just a little bit. Okay, last part of your contouring, highlighting, blush phase, whatever you want to fucking call it, your face, is highlighter. Today I'm going to be using the Fenty Beauty, beautiful little gold. Okay, just going to take my pointer finger and rub it in there like I'm swatching an eyeshadow. A lot comes off with Fenty Beauty, so I'm going to show you. You watch me. We're going to start, and I go right above where I put the blush on, and you want to hit it towards the outer part of your eye, okay? And we're just going to tap. I always smile when I put on highlighter. I don't know if that even helps. I don't think it does, but whatever. Tap, 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 and just tap away. Perfect. And again, same thing that we kind of did with the contour is how we brought it around our temples. We're going to do the same thing with the highlighter to about the midpoint of our eyebrow, okay? Okay, and then we are going to get our lip and our cupid bow, the very little tippy tip of your nose, and then you're going to take the excess powder that you have on your finger, and you're essentially drawing an exclamation point. You don't want them to connect. You want them to show disconnect, because you'll see the light differential as you turn and everything. But that is it for highlighter. Now, to be 100% honest with you, you probably will not be able to see me apply eyeliner. It is a two-handed job. I will tell you, even though you're not going to be able to see because it's going to piss me off, start your line for your wing from your bottom lash line, okay? Follow the direction of your bottom lash line to get the wing that you want, okay? I'll show you step by step. So there's the curve that I've decided to go with today. I drew up and out. Drew the first line. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from the tip of that and drag it down to about the middle of my eyelid. Okay, so as you can see, I drew my line. Literally all you're doing, it's a straight line. It doesn't look straight because of your lid shape, but it's a straight line from tip to middle. Now we're just going to color that in, and then we're going to do a very, very thin line all the way to the inner corner. After I am done with the liquid eyeliner, since this is a heavy makeup look, because I don't know how to not do heavy makeup looks, I go in with a regular pencil eyeliner, and I just get the outer corner, and I don't go all the way in. Your waterline will drag it in there. If you are needing tips and tricks of mascara, first and foremost, when you first take your brush out of the thing, it will have the most product on it before you start pumping air into it. Your first couple swipes should be on the outer corner of both eyes. That is where your eyelashes need the most love and attention. Also, make sure that you are going back and forth with the brush, and it'll help separate the eyelashes as well as add some volume and make sure that they are evenly coated. I already applied the light color in the middle and even started with the dark color, but I figured not everybody knows how to do an ombre lip, and it's super fucking easy. I swear to God it is. So the light color that I used came with an angled brush like this, and I love when they do, because you just take the very tip and you obviously go on the outer edges first and then color in like a coloring book. I applied it just in the middle port, and now we're going to go in with the darker color. I like lipsticks like this, but I don't at the same time. Thankfully, this one still has a point, so we're going to take the edge, start on the outer corner, and again, hit the outside of your line.
It's a bad idea. Yeah, that's okay.
Okay, so you can now see that both colors are on my lips. And one thing I do love about the Beauty Glaze lipstick is that it dries really quick, so you're not sitting there wearing forever. But when it comes to this situation, I let it dry too long, so I'm dipping back into that light color and I'm wiping off the wand with the excess product. We're gonna apply it back in the middle, and then what we're gonna do is just like we do on eyeshadow and blend it in there. All right, guys, here we are. We're at the fucking end. Yay! Last step, hit yourself back with that setting spray, or else you're gonna end up with makeup all over the color. You ready? I go heavy on my under chin because I'm fat and it drags, so don't hate me. And then boom, take off all of your shit, and you now have to go work on your hair if you want to, or just be lazy like me and say makeup's enough and throw your hair up in a bun. Yay. Hopefully I can edit this the fuck down, I swear. But yeah, if you have any more questions, I know that this was probably shitty, sorry. And also sorry for having Gossip Girl on in the background. I ran out of things to watch.